And I look behind us and there's just a trail of blood. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm putting myself through it again. I don't know why. I don't know why I keep doing it for.
I need to be punished.
But I'm going to be trying some more 5-minute craft. These aren't hacks. These are kind of like decor craft ideas. I put it in quotation marks because sometimes I feel like 5-minute crafts, they just stick a load of crap together and call it something. They just call it something that'll get the most clicks, basically. But these are supposed to be nice DIY decor ideas that you're going to want to make for around your home.
They're lying to us.
So we're gonna make them and we're gonna find out if we actually want these around our home. And I can already tell you now, we're not going to. There might potentially be one in the crafts I'm about to do that I think is acceptable. Potentially not even that one either. And also I've cherry picked the best ones out of this video because the other ones, I would basically just be making rubbish to chuck away in the bin. There'd be no point.
Throw it in the bin.
Okay, so the video I'm going to be following along to is called Inspiring Home Decoration Ideas for Every Room. And it's by 5-Minute Decor, one of the many channels 5-Minute Crafts has, because for some reason people keep watching them. And it's got 390,000 views. But let's have a look. Let's see what the first one is I'm going to be making. Oh. Okay, so we're starting off with like a wooden base, some wooden dowel, another wooden tray, sticking it on the top of the dowel, and that becomes a very nice shower cosmetics holder. Okay, I assume this is obviously a bathroom craft, and we're going to be using untreated wood. That'll clearly just get damp, soggy, and mouldy, but go for it. Let's try it. The thing is, they've hot glued all of this together too. And like, it's never gonna be strong. They've put stuff on the top. If you noticed in that video, they put the very small light things on the top. Because if you put like a shampoo bottle on the top of that, it's gonna collapse. But anyway, I've got 2 trays here. And they're very nice trays, to be fair. And I feel like I'm just gonna ruin them. And we've got some wooden dowel. So we're gonna wanna hot glue some of these to the back of this tray. To be fair, I don't mind this idea. I think it's actually quite an interesting idea. But when it comes to like putting shampoo bottles in and stuff, it just needs to be stronger. It needs to be far stronger than this. I think what they've essentially designed here, I say designed very liberally, is almost like a prototype of what could be made but better. Like, I love myself a bit of hot glue, but it is not the strongest adhesive. And also, I have picked the easiest crafts out of the entire video to make. Or not necessarily the easiest ones, but the ones with less of an arse on. I feel like 5-minute crafts sometimes does a lot to get nowhere, if that makes sense. They do like a lot of stuff and a lot of process and everything to just make a mess, basically. It just doesn't make sense, a lot of the things that they do. So I am making the more basic designs. Like, I'm not making a concrete fish tank out of a toilet seat with daffodils attached to it. Like, I'm not doing it. And you know what? I just made that whole fish tank toilet daffodil idea up, but I guarantee it's in one of their videos. It'll be one of their videos somewhere. That's how ridiculous they are. Or if they're watching this video, they'll be like, oh my god, we haven't thought of that yet. A toilet fish tank with daffodils.
It's a masterpiece.
Okay, so I've got that base bit done, and now I need to hot glue this to the top. I feel like this is going to be very, very unstable. See, one of the sticks has already unattached itself from the base of this. This is how terrible this idea is. I feel like it's defying the laws of gravity.
I will help.
Okay, I think that might be done. A lot of these aren't stuck to the actual top part, but it's fine. Okay, there we have it. A lovely little kind of bathroom shelf situation. I think the idea itself isn't bad. It just needs some finessing. It needs to be made better, and it doesn't need to be hot glued together. Let me just stick some of my bathroom stuff in. Put a bit of shampoo in the bottom there, some pink hair dye, a bit of deodorant, and then the top shelf is for half a toilet roll, because that's all it can support. Perfect. There we go. It's ready for display in your bathroom.
No, thanks.
It is what it is, I suppose. But not the worst idea 5-minute crafts has ever come up with. I can definitely safely say that. Okay, let's see what 5-minute crafts has in store for us next. So apparently this person is struggling to fit all their hats on a rack. So they're clearly going to make their own out of coat hangers, apparently. Just drill them all together, a lot of coat hangers, put it on the wall. Yeah, I suppose that would kind of work for you. It doesn't look awful. And I suppose if you're kind of like a fashion designer or something, maybe just having like a feature wall of coat hangers isn't a bad idea. But I don't understand the purpose of the first part where she was struggling to fit everything on to the coat rack, and then she seemingly fit less stuff on the coat hanger wall mounted thing. Don't know, just doesn't really make sense. I feel like they just wanted an excuse to drill some coat hangers together. Right, power tools out. I feel like I haven't used power tools in a while. I might be a little bit rusty. Okay, so how did they start theirs off? So we've got one at the top, and then that goes over the top of this. This is going to be absolutely ginormous, I've just realised. I'm wondering, shall I just do like a mini version? Shall I just do 3 rather than waste all these coat hangers? Because I'm not going to actually use it what it's intended for. And I feel like I'm just going to end up wasting a load of coat hangers. And also, I just don't have space in my studio or in my house for a giant, ugly coat hanger suspension thing. Oh, I went all the way through. I didn't mean to, and I've gone through my table. That went through really quick. Hang on a second, I'll have to get rid of that one. I'm just thinking I might struggle with this actually, because my screws are a little bit too short, and then the only other ones I have are massive. I feel like I'm making a proper ass on of this. I don't think I've woken up today. I'm making very, very questionable decisions.
Snap out of it!
These screws are absolutely shite. I wouldn't care, I've got so many different kinds of screws, and it's typical. The only ones I've got are either too small or too long. I haven't got any that are perfectly the right size for attaching coat hangers together. Well, actually, this might be the right size, but I think I only have one of them. Or I have 2 that are kind of the right size. There we go. That was a lot easier, and it hasn't come through the other side. I'm very sorry, I don't understand why that took me so long. I might have just edited that right down, but it's taken me like 15 minutes just to drill and attach a screw to a coat hanger. I don't know what's happening. Clearly need some more coffee. Right, the next side should be much easier. Oh, I spoke far too soon. I've shattered that coat hanger. I don't know what happened there. Surprisingly, I would love to blame 5 Minute Craft, but this is my fault. I don't know what's going on with us. But as you can see, I've absolutely shattered that part of the coat hanger. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether the screws hit something on this part and it just split the wood, but never mind. We'll just ignore that. So there we go, a coat hanger hat rack, and you can just kind of hang your hats on it like that. Who needs a conventional coat stand when you can just drill some coat hangers together? Absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with this. I don't hate this idea actually, but I just think you can get nicer and more decorative alternatives than sticking some coat hangers on a wall. I think possibly if you paint this and decorate it and do something with it so it doesn't look so obviously like coat hangers on a wall, it might be alright, but I don't know. It might appeal to some people. There was nothing wrong with their original coat rack though. They just wanted to piss around and make this. Right, let's find out what 5 Minute Crafts are up to now. Okay, so they've got a drawer full of bags, and there's just too many bags for the drawer. So they're gonna put some glue on a bag and glue the bags together. I suppose that's gonna save that problem. Cut some bits off it, and then we are spreading it open. And honestly, I think that looks quite nice. I think that's like a very kind of 3D snowflake. I don't know whether I'd want that hanging on my wall. Maybe as if like you painted it or something or did something else with it, but just as like a brown bag. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me. It needs a bit of colour. But I think it's a cool idea if it works. So we'll give this a go. They're very vague with the instructions though. I'm gonna have to use hot glue because I don't have time for regular glue to dry. I've got some brown bags here. I also don't know how many bags they actually glued together. Spiral of glue. I've stuck that down so unevenly. I also find it difficult with 5 Minute Crafts because verbally they don't actually give you any instructions. It's all just kind of upbeat, cheerful music and quick cutaways. And I feel like I need a little bit more guidance than upbeat music and quick cutaways. I feel like I've done exactly what they've done and just glued some bags together. They've done 2 cuts here and cut it like that. 2 little cuts here. I'm sorry mine didn't look as magical as theirs. They just kind of shook their bag and it all cut itself for them. Whereas me, I've had to really try and like shear through all the layers of bag. Okay, I feel like that looks like what they've got. Let's see what mine looks like. I have a feeling mine's not going to look very good. Okay, before I show you this, I'm not sure what happened to mine. I feel like I don't have enough bags, but I don't know how many bags they used because they didn't tell us how many bags they used. But there's mine. Like, you can tell it was gonna look good, but I think maybe it's about another 3 or 4 bags I've used. I think I've used about 8 bags. I think you need about 10 or 12 bags to make the full circle, but that doesn't look too bad actually. I think I like mine more than theirs. Obviously, if it fully looped round. You know what? That would make a really nice little lamp, wouldn't it? Like a nice little wall lamp. Not too bad. I might revisit this idea at some point and actually make some better versions of this because I think it's got potential. I'm surprised this has come from 5 Minute Crafts. Who did they steal this off? Because they didn't think of it themselves. I know they didn't. Their ideas are usually absolutely shite. Their ideas are usually stick pencils to a flip-flop. That's what their ideas are. That's not 5 Minute Crafts. That's what the 5 Minute Crafts are, no. Don't know who this is, but it's not them.
These people are imposters.
Okay, let's see what we're going to be trying next. So it looks like we're doing something with a light, and we've got a basket, and they're obviously going to be cutting a hole out of this basket, threading the light through, and turning, well, I assume turn it into a wall light. Okay, not bad. Very easy idea. I don't know whether it looks particularly good, especially the basket they've used. Their woven basket is like a cheap bread basket you would find in a restaurant, isn't it? I don't know whether you'd want that hanging on your wall. So I've improvised a little bit, and I bought this cute little basket. Ooh. And I thought this would make a much nicer little light fitting, wouldn't it? Like, that would look a bit nice. It would still look like a basket on your wall, but I think it's going to look a bit nicer. For some reason I thought it was going to be really hard to cut through, but it's actually quite soft. Still not easy, but not really difficult. I'll tell you what I need.
A real man, not some drunken, broken down, flaccid undertaker.
And I haven't had one in a very long time. A proper, like, Stanley knife. That's what I need. I don't really trust myself with them, though, because they're very sharp and very dangerous, aren't they? You know what I'm like. I'm very clumsy. I remember there was one time I was in the studio and I was cutting a sculpture out of a latex mold, and my scalpel slipped and I slashed my finger, and I ran to the bathroom to obviously get some like tissue paper and stuff, and as I was running I heard dripping behind us, like hitting the floor, you know, like a proper watery sound, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good. And I looked behind us and there was just a trail of blood. It was probably like pouring out of my finger. I rang 111 and I was like, oh, you know, I've had like quite a nasty cut, what shall I do? And they were like, oh, we would advise you to go to A&E. I was just like, absolutely not, I am not going to A&E. So I just wrapped some tissue paper around, put loads of masking tape on, put loads of pressure on, and just waited until it stopped bleeding. And it did eventually stop bleeding. I think I've got a scar on one of my fingertips from the slash mark. I can never find it. It healed quite well actually. It just wouldn't stop bleeding. It was just quite worrying because of like obviously the blood splatter sound behind us. I was like, uh-oh. But I survived, it's fine. It was the kind of cut as well, you know, when you've like done an oopsie and you're like, uh-oh, that was a bad one. It was completely a massive oopsie. There was absolutely no way I was going to sit in A&E for hours and hours just for them to probably put like a plaster on it or something. I was like, no thanks. I'll like glue it together. Right, have I cut through this yet? It seems to be taking a very long time. Right, there we go, finally. Right, stick our light in. Okay, let's plug it in, see what this is gonna look like. Okay, so this is what mine looks like. I feel like I've chosen a bit too of like a tightly woven basket. It doesn't, like, it gives off a lot of light this way, and it might look nice that way, but that way it doesn't really have the effect that I was hoping for. It actually doesn't look too bad in person. If it was literally absolutely pitch black, this might work, but obviously it's not. It's still like quite light in here. But you know, not a bad idea. I can kind of see what they were trying with this. And for 5 Minute Crafts, this is a very, very sensible option. Do I look nice in this light? I think everyone looks nice in quite like a orangey light. Oh, that's nice. Wow. Should I take some selfies? I think I might need to take some pictures.
Living with my bitches, hashtag live.
Anyway, let's move on to the final one before I want to shag myself.
Dirty slut.
Okay, so what are we doing next? So they've got a perfectly fine mirror and they're adding some tape to it, blobbing some paint on in purple and black, and then spraying a little bit of paint and peeling the tape off to reveal the ugliest mirror ever made in existence. Like, what was the point of that? It doesn't look intentional. It looks like you've just chucked a bit of paint on a mirror. It doesn't look designed. It just doesn't look nice. It doesn't look good at all. But I'm gonna give it a go and see if making it makes me feel any differently about it, but I don't think it's going to. So I've got a lovely mirror here. I'll just tape some sections off. I also feel like there's no point of taping it off. You may as well have just like blobbed a bit of paint around the outside. I don't see the kind of point in the tape, but I'll just do as I'm told. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. I assume it was done for like a clickbaity thumbnail at one point for one of their many millions of videos they post all over all social media. And it's usually the same shite, just repurposed and reformatted and put somewhere else. Because you think, oh, you can only find it on YouTube. No, they're everywhere. It's like a virus. It's like a plague of 5-minute crafts. I don't have any gold spray paint, so I'm just gonna add a bit of black and pink acrylic paint to this. Also, it's not a very good idea because it won't cover well enough acrylic paint. Like, fair enough if you're going to do it with some like glass paint or something, or some like proper mirror paint, but lobbing some random acrylic paint on a mirror isn't going to do anything, and it's not going to last. It's going to scratch and wear off, but I'm sure 5-minute crafts is well aware of that. They don't care if their crafts hold up or not. Okay, some paint on a mirror, peel the tape off. I'm just thinking, let me have a look at theirs again. Oh yeah, it did look like that. It did look bad. Okay, that's fine. I just thought I did it wrong, but theirs does look really shit. So there we have it, a mirror with just a little bit of paint on it, and honestly, I think mine looks better than theirs. You could do something with a mirror, you could paint on a mirror and make it look nice, but I feel like the way I've done it is better than what they've done it. I think theirs looked really, really shocking. But let me check myself out in this mirror. I want to get the full effect. So stupid.
Pinned him.
Anyway, I think that just about does it for today's video. Hopefully I have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And honestly, I've picked some very sensible options from that 5-minute craft video. I've cherry picked them because some of the ideas in that video were absolutely shite, were shockingly shite. And I didn't want to make them for the sake of making them and then just have this like just waste and crap lying around. I really didn't. So I've purposefully picked things that I thought might actually look okay. Apart from obviously the mirror. I knew the mirror one was going to be absolutely shockingly bad. But you're more than welcome to watch that full video if you want to see the utter tat that is in that video. However, I did want to say a big thank you to Beth Williams for becoming an exclusive VIO. You very important orange you. And I'll see you next week for a brand new video, and I will not be venturing into 5-minute crafts for quite a while now. Unless you come across any 5-minute craft tat or ideas that you want me to try, then I suppose I'll do it.